Conspiracy theories about the ancient world in 2020. Fifth, Plato and the New World Order. Considered the greatest philosopher in history and the chief representative of Greek thought, Plato is also the subject of some conspiracy theories. Some people believe that he was influenced by the traditions of the East and laid the foundations for the rise of the Jewish mystic tradition, Kabbalah. This seems harmless enough, but others take the hypothesis further. Supposedly, the Illuminati, the Zionists, or both manipulated Plato's reputation to give him a high profile in the worlds of academia and political philosophy. Then they planned to use the utopian society described in the Republic as the model for their new world order. They quote 3rd century BC Jewish philosopher Aristobulus, who said, "It is evident that Plato imitated our legislation and that he had investigated thoroughly each of the elements in it, for he was learned, as was Pythagoras, who transferred many of our doctrines and integrated them into his own beliefs." According to the theorists, Platonic theory forms the basis of plans for a future world government, which will include the elimination of marriage and the family, widespread eugenics, compulsory education, and deceptive propaganda. The vision of a new world order was pushed forward by thinkers such as Kant, Hegel, Nietzsche, and the neoconservative Leo Strauss. It also ties in with the ancient Jewish conspiracy theory, which began when the Proto-Zionists infiltrated the Babylonian Magi cult of astrology and magic. 4th, Kong Lao. China's state media declared, although Confucius is dead, his corpse continues to emit its stench even today. Its poison is deep and its influence extensive. This started a brief period in which the record of Confucius's life was replaced with a narrative befitting Marxist historical theory, a legacy that the modern Chinese Communist Party now finds embarrassing. One anti-Confucius poster printed in 1974 called the Ancient Master Kong Lao, or Kong No. 2, a reference to a popular alcoholic drink or a man's genitals. One anti-Confucius poster printed in 1974 called the Ancient Master Kong Lao, or Kong No. 2, a reference to a popular alcoholic drink or a man's genitals. The title of the poster best translates as the evil life of that D-head Confucius. According to this theory, Confucius was the second son of a declining family of slave owners when China was transforming from a slaveholding society to a feudal state. Supposedly, Confucius dreamed of restoring power to the slaveholding aristocracy while still seeking the glory of a government office. He made money by managing government fields, overseeing cattle and sheep, as well as looking after grain stores. 3rd, Moses was Akhenaten. Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten was famous for a failed attempt to create a monotheistic solar cult, but some believe he was the same man as the prophet Moses. There are several references in the Bible which suggest that Moses may have been Egyptian. The Hebrew form of his name, Moshe, is compared with the Egyptian Mesu, or Mose, which meant son. Ahmad Osman argues that Akhenaten was born in a royal palace, the son of Amenhotep III, but was under threat of assassination from Amun priests because his mother, Queen Tiye, was not the legitimate heiress to the throne. He was smuggled out of the palace and brought up in the household of his Israelite grandfather. Later, Akhenaten moved to Heliopolis for his education and then to the capital of Thebes at age 16. He fell in love with his half-sister Nefertiti, the heiress to the throne, and was made co-regent by Amenhotep. He then antagonized the priests of Amun by building temples to Aten, his new solar god, and eventually building a great temple in the city of Amarna. 2nd, the Black Shia and Shang. Some proponents of the Afrocentric theory of history insist that the first inhabitants of the Chinese mainland were black Africans. They were said to have migrated from the fertile African crescent by way of Iran. They believe that the legendary founder of Chinese civilization, Huang Di, was known by the ancient name of Hunak Kunte, which is linked to the surname Kunte that is common among the Manding people of Africa. According to this theory, Early anthropological findings identify the original inhabitants of southern China as being oceanic Negroids. But this outdated term of racial classification was wrongly based on a similarity in physical appearance, not genetics, between sub-Saharan Africans and dark-skinned Melanesians. The specific Chinese dynasties associated with Africans are the Xia and the Shang, while the Zhou dynasty was considered the first Mongoloid dynasty, founded by a people called the Hua. Researcher Clyde Winters has claimed that the Chinese language and early character symbols were clearly related to Manding words and inscriptions. This linguistic argument is somewhat anachronistic because he is comparing modern Chinese words with modern Manding words. Ancient Chinese was probably pronounced differently, and the modern Manding languages were highly influenced by the languages of the medieval kingdom of Mali. First King Solomon's Temple. As the legendary Temple of King Solomon is important in Judaism, Christianity, and Freemasonry, it has been a central element in many conspiracy theories. Early Masonic writers believed that their order was established at the building of the Temple of Solomon. King Solomon, King Hiram of Tyre, and master craftsman Hiram Abif would have been the first Grand Masters. These writers also believed that Freemason orders, symbolic degrees, and initiation rituals were first developed at the temple and passed down through the centuries to the modern Freemasons with little change. Modern Masonic writers don't take it so literally but insist that the symbolism has spiritual importance. According to the entry for Temple of Solomon in the Masonic dictionary, each lodge is and must be a symbol of the Jewish temple, each master in the chair representing the Jewish king, and every Freemason a personation of the Jewish workman. Anti-Masonic writers interpret things differently. Some say that Solomon, Hiram, and Hiram Abif were occultists, each possessing a single syllable of a sacred and powerful word of God that they used in a ritual when the temple was finished. The actual word is said to have been lost because Abif was murdered before the completion of the temple. According to conspiracy theorist Amitabh Stanford, two of the syllables are Kiryo and Duha, but the third is unknown and cannot be discovered. This is fortunate as he claims the word can summon the power of darkness associated with the Anunnaki elite and the Demiurge. Thanks for watching.